Hey, what's up, guys? Russ Anderson, Anderson Security Consulting, AndersonSecurityConsulting.com on Facebook, on Instagram, Anderson Security Consulting, on Twitter. It's exec_protect. Please consider hitting the like and subscribe button for those of you that have. Thank you very much. For those of you that are going to, thank you very much as well. You can look forward to a lot more useful information and tactics and insider information about the world of executive protection, bodyguard work, and premium security services. So this video is by request. A gentleman watched the video, the thirst, well, not the thirst, but the honey trap, and why the honey trap is so effective, how it's utilized against executive protection details, clients, how it gathers information, and how it can get you or your client killed. All right, so the honey trap, for those of you who haven't watched the video, I strongly encourage you to watch the video. It's a good video. Check it out. Check out the channel. Subscribe so you don't miss. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of this fantastic, juicy, detailed information coming at you that you're not going to get in most other places. So, the honey trap is a biological exploit. The biological exploit, it's a hack. So every male has the thirst built into him. We all have the thirst. It doesn't matter what your orientation is. You've got the thirst. Whether you're straight, gay, bi, whatever it is, whatever your orientation is, you have a thirst for that sort of gratification, if you understand what I'm saying. I won't go into detail or be graphic because I don't want to anger the YouTube algorithm, which would demote me. So, especially as I'm trying to grow the channel. So, and again, share these videos as well too to your friends. Ask them to subscribe. Click like as you come in to watch the video, please. So, the biological imperative, males of the species in particular, and females, but males of the species in particular are visual creatures. We also have that thirst built into us that helps the propagation and the proliferation of our species. Without this thirst, mankind would have died off a long time ago. All right, so you guys understand what I'm talking about, the thirst. I won't have to go into more details. I think we're all grown-ups here. So if I'm on the opposition, say for instance, if I want to harm your client, say if I want to take your client off the board, I can use a honey trap to harm your client or to set your client up. So if your client doesn't have protection and they're a person who's active with thirst quenching activities, let's just call it that way, one way I can get him on the X, and the X is where an attack or an ambush is going to take place. So whenever we talk about getting on or off the X, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about getting somebody on that point, the bullseye, whatever you want to call it, but the X is the point of attack. So, and I've worked a lot of cases as a private investigator where an individual was lured to their death by someone engaging a female that they had a lot of thirst for, and brought these gentlemen, invited them over. When they came over, the ops were waiting for them, and that was it. It was curtains. So that's not exclusive to activities in the hood with somebody with their individual ops. The honey trap has been used for years. It's been used in spycraft. It's been used in international intrigue, espionage. The honey trap has been used in corporate espionage, or what we like to call competitive intelligence. Nobody really uses corporate espionage, but most people don't know what competitive intelligence is. So now you got a new definition, so you can put that in your toolbox. Courtesy of me, you're welcome. Anyway, so even at the executive level, men of all types, ages, cultures, backgrounds, religious beliefs, socioeconomic status, everyone is susceptible to the thirst. Now, smart men learn how to control that thirst and don't let the thirst control them. And I'll be going into more of that in detail on my second channel. So it's a perfect segue for a plug for the second channel. I'm going to be launching very soon in the next few days. I'm putting together a list of videos I'm going to make right now, but it's the Uncle Russ Advice Channel. So I'm your Uncle Russ, and I'll be giving you advice, mostly for men, but for women as well too, about life issues, from relationships and so on. So anyway, back to the honey trap and how it can be used against you. So on the executive protection level, you have to, as an executive protection specialist, you have to be extra careful how you interact with people that you're attracted to. So if I want information on your protectee, one of the things I'm going to do, besides the regular thing, try to talk to people, the whole social engineering, human hacking, the honey trap has to fall under the social engineering thing. So social engineering is getting someone to do something they wouldn't ordinarily do without your influence or input. Okay, so, and I'm going to go into that on the Uncle Russ advice channel as well too. So I'm going to I'm going to say, okay, what does he like? Male, female, whatever it might be. And I say he because I'm just using myself as an example. Okay, he likes women. Okay, so let me see, was he like blondes, redheads, brunettes, black women, Latinas, Caucasians, interracial, Asian, and I'm gonna find the best example of what this individual likes. What gets his thirst up? What gets him the most thirsty? And I'm going to send that individual to chat him up. We're going to stage a meeting and make it so convenient for him that he just can't walk away from it. And unfortunately or fortunately, I've been on the receiving end of one of these attempts. I just happen to be incredibly suspicious, and I understand how the honey trap can be used because I've had again a lot of experience with the honey trap being deployed. And the honey trap is an incredibly powerful weapon. Once deployed properly against the proper target, it's almost unbeatable in a lot of cases because a lot of guys haven't learned how to control their thirst. So I want this individual to chat this guy up, exchange phone numbers, and get this individual eager to interact with this individual. And so one of the things that always comes out is, women typically will ask me if I meet a woman somewhere, what do you do for a living? That's a common question for anybody. And, I'm a private investigator. Typically, I'll say I'm a consultant. I'm a security consultant. I almost never tell anybody, that I meet out in the wild that I'm an executive protection specialist, just because I don't know who's listening or why they're asking. But, say for instance, I'm not hip to that game. Here's what I'll do. Oh yeah, I'm a bodyguard. I'm an executive protection specialist, and here's what you're gonna get. Oh wow, that sounds interesting. Tell me more. And as men, again, we want to impress, especially if someone you're thirsty for. You want to be impressive. And look, guys, I get it. Even though it sounds like I'm preaching, I get the thirst. I understand 100%. But what I'm saying is, when you're on a job, you've got to control it, man, and you should control it the rest of your life, but especially when you're on a job. So I start talking. I start going off at the mouth, and literally all people usually have to do is just let somebody talk. And I've heard conversations where guys were talking, and they were just being worked for information, and they had no idea. So the thirst trap was deployed on me and some of the guys I was working with. We were working on a detail, on a security detail in Colombia. And if anybody who's been in Colombia, shout out to Colombia. Colombian women, not exclusively, but Colombian women understand how to get a man's attention. It can be challenging. Trust me, I understand. However, I was replacing a guy that engaged in pillow talk. And, we had a couple of guys in that detail that engaged in pillow talk, and that potentially could have gotten all of us, including our client, either kidnapped or killed at the time. Colombia was the kidnapping capital of the world, and so everybody was on edge. Everybody was tuned up and ready to work constantly, but this was a constant threat. And so after guys would get off duty, because there were different shifts, guys would go out. And I remember going out, hanging out with some of the guys, listening to the guys talk to some of the women at the bars, and I'm sitting there like, dude, this guy is being like, okay, this guy looked literally good guy, won't say his name, but this guy looked like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, okay? And so the woman who rolled up on him was, conservatively speaking, 8.5 or 9 on a scale of 1 to 10. Like she was a knockout, and she wasn't really interested in him, but she was pumping him for information, and he was just just vomiting information everywhere. Oh yeah, I'm from here, I'm from there. I work for this company. We do this, we do that. I'm sitting there listening to him, doing the ear hustle thing, because I was next to him, but maybe one or two people down. But I was honing in on his conversation because I was just watching. I was like, hey, what does she want with him? And a little bit jealous at first. I was like, man, like he got the hottest girl in the club. Why? Okay, she was getting information from him. And I walked up to him. I was like, hey man, hey, what's up, man? Hey, can I talk to you for a minute? He's like, you sure? I said, yeah. I said, dude, you're being pumped for information. You got to stop. And so I know what I'm doing. He kept talking, but I think he finally, he got the gist of what I was saying, and he backed off giving out information. And so think of how compromising that can be to your client and to your detail in general if you're talking about what you're doing, who you are, who you're working for. When I'm on jobs, I don't talk about who I'm working for. When I get off jobs, I don't talk about who I work for or who I've worked for. I don't advertise those things. Like I said before, there are videos out there, there are pictures out there with me, with clients. I did not take those pictures. I did not post those pictures. Those pictures were taken. There's nothing I can do about them. That just is what it is. And so there's, you're not going to see me doing that. So anyway, the thirst trap or the honey trap is a very real danger. A lot of details prefer guys that are 35 or 40 and above. And the reason for that is guys that are in their 20s, and again, I understand how it is, but your testosterone level is literally on full, sometimes bubbling over. And so that testosterone and the inability to control the thirst usually lead to disastrous consequences. So you don't want that. You don't want to be that guy or that gal or that person who's putting information out that you shouldn't be putting out. So avoid talking about what you're doing in general. Now, naturally, if you're married, you have a spouse. Like I've been on details when I was married. I've been on details, and my wife didn't know who I was working for. She knew I was on a detail, but I didn't tell her who I was working for. She had a tendency to talk too much, so I just wouldn't tell her stuff. Eventually, I was on a long-term detail. Eventually, she found out, and she was like, "Why didn't you tell me?" And I was like, "Well, you've got to keep this to yourself. You got to keep this under your hat." And she didn't. She didn't. But at least she waited until I resigned from the detail to talk about it. She didn't talk about it while I was on the detail. So I hope that gives you a better understanding of the honey trap, the biological imperative that it exploits. It's a hack. It's a human hack. It's also under the heading of social engineering, which is another thing I'll be going into on this channel, but also too on my second channel, which is the Uncle Russ Advice channel. Again, it's going to be I'm going to go into the honey trap, but from a different angle on the Uncle Russ Advice channel. Just for men in general, not necessarily the target of some sort of attack or kidnapping, but as you grow and you become more successful in life, you're going to be the target of a different type of attack, and it is an attack, and I'll explain to you why it is. Anyway, it's your boy Russ. Again, if anything I've said has brought any value to you, please hit like, subscribe. There will be more content coming, and thank you very much for watching. It's your boy Russ. I'm out.